Tinubu has finally thrown that fatal blow into the camps of the northern oligarchs that now we see them confessing that they regret criticizing the era of Jonathan. What this simply means is that the northern politicians, which are largely Fulani'S, by the way, are now saying that they are finding it difficult to manipulate Tinubu, who seems to have captured all the parastatals the Fulani'S over the years have always controlled. They are begging for Jonathan to come and unseat Tinubu. You can see that most of these northerners are not talking about Peter Obi. And why is the reason? They are not ready to step down for an Igbo man. They are not ready to step down for a man that wants to challenge the powers that be. They are not ready to step down because they know that if a young man like Peter Obi gets in there, right, it will open up the economy, open up the southeastern corridor. It will be so good in governance that people will sincerely demand for more. They just want a man who has several baggages that when he gets in there, it wouldn't do more than 4 years, and of course, it will serve their interests. According to the history, as recorded when Jonathan was in power, we know that the region that benefited most from the Jonathan's regime were the North. So isn't it surprising? I mean, for them to come out today and demand that they want Jonathan to come and undo Tinubu's administration, that they regret that moment why they were criticizing Jonathan. They never knew that Jonathan meant the best for them. And guess who said this? The very famous El-Rufai. Not the father, the son, Bello El-Rufai. You see, these are people who like to play clever by half. These are people who will do everything to only ensure the enthroned people they can control. These are people that want to be the power brokers, they want to be the manipulators, they want to be the major decision makers for anything and everything that concerns the Nigerian contraption. Are you following me closely? I mean, since the past 2 years, the criticism that we have seen from the northern oligarchs against a southern presidency has never been this intense. The largest protest that has ever been done by a northerner against any president since 1999 was done last year, right? We saw massive crowd of northerners. In fact, they did that protest to the market. In fact, they were even waving flags of Russia. They were demanding for military coup. This is for you to understand that the North into 2027 can do anything and everything to dismantle and crumble this nation to its knees. Right? For a southern presidency that threatens their own very existence, they are willing, ready to work with any international community. And this is why you see them, they are by, by everything irrational against the Nigerian country building a wall in the north. You build a wall to fence away the terrorists. They said, no. These people know what they are doing. They honestly know what they are doing. Because otherwise, why will a country be facing an existential threat? A threat that you know that if it is not curtailed, right? If it is not nipped in the bud, this threat will come into your society and wipe every human being living that does not, accept the Islamic extremist believes. But again, this guy said no, that Nigeria cannot fence herself away from what? From their neighbors. Because they believe that they have closer ties with the Fulani's in Niger, with the Fulani's in northern part of Benin. I mean, they believe they have closer relationships with the people of the Chad. So hence, Nigeria should not even think about it. And they know that if someone like Jonathan comes in, Jonathan does not have the balls. He does not have the balls to even tinker with anything that would threaten the relationship between the northern part of Nigeria and Niger. And these are the issues. These are the problems. So when you see a person like Bello Rufai coming out to eulogize Jonathan, trying to sing him that Jonathan regime was actually not bad. I regret that I even criticized him. I apologize to the Nigerian people. Perhaps maybe Jonathan could come around and try and go into the political arena because he believes the Nigerian people will support Jonathan. You know, it is not for good intention. They are simply doing all this because they know, right? Because they know that they have the buttons, right? The buttons, the mumu button of Jonathan that they will press, and of course, easily Jonathan will just kowtow to their wishes. But for me as a Nigerian, I know that Jonathan is a good guy, but I do not want Jonathan to come back because Jonathan had the opportunity as a president to enrich the life of Bayelsas. Today, Bayelsa is the top three poorest states in Nigeria. I'm telling you, look at the numbers, the amount of money Bayelsa receives from FAC, and yet Bayelsa, they do not have a functioning water, pipe-borne water. They don't have good schools. They do not have good hospitals. Neither do they have good roads or even waterways. And yet, Bello Rufai is saying, Jonathan, listen, when Jonathan was the president, there were so many federal projects he should have done in the Niger Delta region. Nothing was done. When Jonathan was the governor of Bayelsa, was it deputy governor? What were his I think he was a governor for a period of 2 years, the thereabout. What was his achievement as a governor? I will not support a failure. No matter how they try to convince us, we reject him. We would rather have a Tinubu if they will not endorse Peter Obi. If the North will not endorse a Peter Obi, we would rather have a Tinubu who is using bigotry to fight bigotry, tribalism to fight tribalism. I'm telling you. Because the game the North have perfected, that game of dark earth, of putting their own people in very, very pivotal and critical sectors of the economy. Tinubu has come up, kick them out, boom, 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 put his people. This place you will see Aremu, this place you will see Idowu, this place you will see Tope, this place you will see Ajayi, that place you will see Egbetokun. I mean, he knows why. In the other, you see Yemi Cardoso. In the other one, you see Wale Edu. So he knows. Look at what is going. Look at the power sector, oil sector, what is it called? Finance. What other critical? Oil and gas. Which other critical sectors again? If you take your time and take a look, Nigerian army, Yoruba, police, Yoruba, customs, Yoruba. So Tinubu is doing everything to rile up, anger the North. As a Southerner, I don't think you should be in any way be thinking that a Jonathan will come and make no. A Jonathan will come and return back Nigeria into the hands of the Fulani's. At this very stage, we do not even pray for the Fulani's, the northern oligarchs, to get what they want come 2027. Let me tell you, because if they get what they want in 2027, first and foremost, they will reverse everything that seems as if Nigeria wants to split. Because the trajectory Nigeria is moving into now, Nigeria is moving into that direction of it being divided. Yes, because we can see the level of division amongst the Nigerian people now. We can see the amount of tribal sentiment. We can see that everybody is now coming to what we call self-awareness of their culture. One thing that happened is for a nation, right, or for a particular group to fight for sovereignty, or should I say independence or freedom, the first thing they need is a high level of conservatism and self-awareness and self-appreciation. You can see that under Tinubu now, middle belt have come to that self-realization that, man, we're not supposed to be a subject of the North. In fact, we're not supposed to be called North. We do not have any cultural affiliations with these Fulani'S. No, we shouldn't be a colony of the northern oligarchs. This under Tinubu has been discovered. Why? Because when Tinubu came on board, he brought in his own tribal divide and rule schemes. Right? He brought in those agenda. And for me, as a student of history, and I know that for Nigeria to move forward, we must be governed with a consideration of our tribal lines. Nigeria will never progress if we deceive ourselves that we are one. No, 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 no. Come on, man. Nigeria has to get to that position whereby the North wants to practice their Sharia, so be it. They don't want to eat pig, so be it. They don't want to have dogs and cats, so be it. If I know I want to go to the North, I will not trespass. Period. And in the South, I want to drink alcohol, so be it. In the South, I want to eat pork meat, so be it. In the South, I want to eat 404, so be it. And if any Northerner is coming down to the South, he will zip his mouth. He won't dare say a word. He won't have that temerity to tell me that Souths are keferis. He won't dare have that temerity to open his mouth and say that the Southerners are pagans. Let us wipe them out. He won't. When we get to that point, everybody will understand that I have my own customary law enforcement agencies. I have my own tribal watchdogs. Yes. It's as simple as that. We will have a way to control and manage ourselves. Switzerland did it. So many tribal countries did it by practicing what we call a confederation, which simply means you will have your own confidential federation. And then you remit a meager share to the center. Maybe you make 1 million, you give the center power, you give them 200,000, take. It's not going to kill your people. Neither will it stop your progress. Okay, so that will just be our consensus as a people. That's it. Because we cannot be guaranteed of a divided country for a progressive nation under a person that Bello El-Rufai is actually proposing to us. It's not going to happen. They know that Jonathan is a weak man. They know if they threaten Tinubu to an extent, that man is ready to cut down everything the Fulani oligarchs, because he has been doing it. They know that if they move mad, Tinubu can, who has the National Assembly in his pocket, can begin to move a motion for regionalism. And is that not what we want? So when I see a Bello El-Rufai coming out trying to be a saint, I have to clean my face and say, are you serious? The same guy who called Peter Obi a man of names? The same guy who in the past has called Jonathan a man of names? Oh, because he has now found himself in the hands of a bigger evil. A power that is beyond his own control. And I'm not talking to Bello El-Rufai alone. I'm talking to all of the North. They are finding it difficult to maneuver Tinubu, who wants to be the grand godfather of the country. I mean, we can see so many northern governors, all of them, calling out Tinubu for his excesses and high-handedness. You know, so some of them are saying, no, this man is marginalizing us. I mean, the last time in the dailies, the northern came out and said that no, Tinubu is marginalizing us. No federal response, and federal presence in the northeast. That the northeast have voted for him vehemently, overwhelmingly. He has ignored them, but instead he's building infrastructures in the southeast that the southeast never give him a vote. You know, some people sometimes they sort of debate that Tinubu is a master strategist. For me, Tinubu is a master divider. Yes, you must understand that Tinubu is a very selfish guy who has understood the dark art of divide and rule. Tinubu is a man who has studied 47, maybe 48 laws of power. And in those 48 laws of powers, one of the few laws are you must be able to conquer your enemies by divide and rule. He's doing that. That is precisely what he's doing. And we can see the North gasping for air. Like, oh my goodness, what do we do? How did we get here? There are so many northern so many social media commentators now who are saying that Tinubu is doing everything to split the north from the middle belt. I am for everything that will ensure Nigeria progress by division. Because I know a united listen, it is too glaring. You are an enemy of progress if you still say that Nigeria be should remain like this. No, Nigeria cannot continue to be a unitary system. Nigeria cannot continue. Listen, you have to listen. I am not at this point in time saying that Nigeria should totally be destroyed because that, to be realistic, is not visible. But one thing is sure, Nigeria can be fragmented into regionalism. Nigeria can be fragmented into confederations. Nigeria can be restructured into resource control. And every of these three things that I've mentioned, the only people against it are nothing but the northern oligarchs. You will hardly find an Igbo man that will come out and reject any president that talk about restructuring, which means whatever you make, you should get the larger portion of it. You will hardly see it. Jonathan had that chance when confab was concluded. It was proposed to Jonathan restructure this country within the period of 2013-2014. Jonathan saw the list of actions to be taken so that Nigeria can be placed on a pedestal of progress. Jonathan looked to his left, he saw his Fulani'S and northern leaders and masters. He said, no, I'm not going to implement this. And it was, of course, by so kicked out. It was kicked out. I'm not saying Tinubu wants to implement confab, but I'm only saying that Tinubu is doing something very wrong by stepping on the toes of the North. And Nigeria will only begin to break when the North feel they have been stepped on. When the North begin to lose interest in that one Nigeria, as it were, they must begin to demand that, no, okay, we have our own resources. They will not agree easily. It is that the only two ways we can achieve this is either by war or by putting someone there that will frustrate them until they begin to cry out. And I think Tinubu is actually there to frustrate the North. And this is why you see me sometimes, how I keep, criticizing Tinubu. Tinubu is a bigot, and I think it's only a bigot that can divide this country. Right? It's only a bigot that has the capacity to divide this country because it will get to a point. It will want to be conservative and it will want every other tribes that he needs their support to also be conservative so that they can break away from the northern capture. You understand? From the northern captivity. And that is how we will have a nation at the end of the day where everybody can say this part of this country is truly my representation of the person I am. The Southeast should represent the Biafran people. The Southwest should represent the Oduduwa people. The South represent the people of the Efik Old Empire. The Middle Belt should represent the people of the North. And then the Core North should represent the people of the Uthman Danfodio. It's as simple as that. Then we'll begin to coexist amongst ourselves. I mean, this is the only way I see this country moving forward. Every other thing where Billy Rufai is trying to, you know, placate, trying to like stock good. Come on, man. It's all deception. And we will not fall for it. If you're just joining, kindly subscribe, like, and share this channel. And I want to sincerely thank my gifters. Those that gift me, I appreciate you, and I wouldn't mind more to come in. Bye for now.